Hey, what's up? It's me, Haley Jones, and today we are taking a look at this house. What do you notice? It's completely empty. It's about to have new owners. We close in just a few days, and I wanted to go over some of the things that made this house sell, some of the strategy that we used in order to get this beautiful home new owners, and a successful outcome for my seller. So let's dive in and get going. All right, so we are in a property in Sequoia Hills. This is a beautiful, very well-loved area. Sequoia Hills is characteristic of older homes, beautiful, think could go on the cover of, HGTV magazine, Architectural Digest even. It's kind of, to me, it's like almost like the Hollywood Boulevard area of Knoxville, just old homes, beautiful yards, beautiful, beautiful homes. So this house originally, my seller renovated it when she bought it. And so some of her goals in selling, of course, was to recoup some of her investment, but actually her larger priority was to hit a certain sale date. She had some things going on with the family. She needed to have the furniture out by a certain time because the furniture needed to go to other properties. So she did also not want to sell it, or show it, I should say, without it being furnished. So as you can tell, it's a beautiful house, but the furniture, you can really see the scope of the rooms, the size of the rooms. The cleaner hasn't come yet, so just FYI, but this just looks like a living room. But when it's furnished, you can see the size, you can see the scale. And so one of her main goals was to show it while it was furnished, but also have it be under contract, and if not, nearly sold before it was completely vacant. So that was one of the goals. The other goal, again, was about price. So we had a time restraint, we had a pricing number. Now, this home had several college students living in it. So for example, I'm gonna take you to the primary bedroom. So this is the primary bedroom. Again, all the furniture has been removed, but this carpet is brand new. Here's why. When I first saw this house, somebody had had a dog in here. The carpet was ripped, there was pee stains. So one of the things that we did is I had a carpet company put new carpet just in this room. We didn't need it in the whole house, we just needed it in the room. And that was important because this is your primary bedroom, right? And look at this closet, it's beautiful. Primary bedroom and closet, you can't have dog chewed carpet, right? So that was one of the things that we did. Another thing that we did is I had my handyman come and just fix little ticky-tacky things, because this is not a fixer-upper home, but it had some college kiddos in it. And let me show you these doors. So for example, he fixed everything. Like we had some can lights that were kind of falling. One of the air registers had fallen out of the ceiling. So I had him fix all those things because, again, it's not a fixer-upper. But this is an upstairs loft area, loft room. And these doors, somebody had put command strips, like the hooks. So he had hats, and it ruined these doors. Like it completely took the face off the doors. And I saw them and I was like, oh no, because they looked horrendous. So I had my handyman come over and I was like, can you fix this? He's like, yeah, no problem. They're perfect. I thought we were gonna have to replace the doors. Fixed, done, all is well. So little things like that, again, for maximum price. We didn't want buyers coming in and thinking, oh, I gotta fix this place, right? So when you have like doors that are messed up, it looks like it's a fixer-upper, which, probably it actually ended up being a very cheap repair. But if you're a home buyer looking at this house, you're gonna see that as it needs to be fixed, not that it's ready to move in. So we want to address any areas where there were issues. Another thing that he fixed is the dog had chewed up some of the flooring down here, and he fixed that. Something else that was just like minor, but you noticed, this was the dining area. So there was a dining table here, and there was a giant area rug at one point. Well, they had put like ticky-tacky sticky stuff, and you can't, I walked over it and my foot was like sticking, and I was like, we gotta get rid of that. So he fixed that, got rid of it completely. There's no more sticky there. And then of course, little things like some of these drawers, like these are beautiful cabinets with like some great features, right? But some of them were full of stuff. And buyers look through drawers, right? So we didn't need all that stuff. So I got some Tupperwares. There was a lot of like papers and all kinds of stuff. Stuff that was important that you just don't want to dump. So I put that in a Tupperware, put it underneath the cabinet so it looked like it was organized when actually it was, you know, essentially there was like 4 junk drawers. We can't have that. We don't want it to show like that. Another thing that was huge for this property was there's a beautiful, this is a gunite pole. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. But another thing that was super important was this back deck. So the first time I saw this, it needed to be painted. The wood was not rotten. It just needed to be painted. It hadn't really been touched in a few years. So my handyman came, repainted all this deck. I mean, this is a huge deck. Looks beautiful now. So he completely addressed that. Again, that was a way that it's not a fixer-upper house, but it looked like a repair that needed to be done. It looked like it needed to be updated. There was a board or two that he had to nail down. But for the most part, it just needed to be repainted and it looks beautiful. So that was another huge piece of just making this house ready to move in now and not like, I gotta fix this. There was a chicken coop back there that was like old and dilapidated. So I had that removed. Let me take you down to the basement because this was another thing. People tend not to like crawl spaces anyways, but this was something else that we addressed because people don't want a bunch of nonsense, right, that they're gonna have to deal with. And my seller, she's out of town. She didn't want to have to drive back and forth in order to get the house ready, which is actually great because she didn't have to worry about it. I just was able to, she was like, take care of it, and we took care of it. So I had a junk guy come and haul off. Like there were Halloween decorations. I mean, it was like just this whole space back here was Halloween, Christmas, blah, blah, blah. So all of that we hauled off. There was some stuff in the pool house that we hauled off. So again, the goal was, how do we show this property in the best light? So in other words, how do we make it so that it is truly move-in ready? The buyers don't have to worry about anything. But also it shows well, it's pleasant to see. There's not a bunch of junk that they're like, are they taking that? Are they leaving that? So, and then just really small repairs like those doors, air register, sticky tape. Another thing was some of the faucets were loose. So I had my inspector repair that, or not my inspector, my handy guy just fix those loose like faucet handles. And then we staged it briefly for photos, just very lightly. So as I said, there had been some college students here. The college kiddos, basically, it looked like the master bedroom did not look like a master bedroom. So I changed the artwork. I added some accent pillows. Actually added some accent pillows and bedspreads in a couple places just to give it a nice look in the photos. I mean, this house pretty much speaks for itself. It's beautiful. So it wasn't that it was in bad condition. We just needed it to look the best. Again, her goal was to get it sold by a certain time before the furniture had to be moved out. And we did that for a number and amount that she was pleased with. So we hit those main goals, and it was really just, you know, simple strategy, really professional marketing, video, photography, making sure it was, you know, the first time that somebody sees a house is online, which means, you know, the videos and photos must be awesome, right? So anyways, and my arm's getting tired, but essentially just making sure that the seller's goals were met. Her goals were show this in the best light possible with it being furnished, check. Get it under contract with as smooth a process as possible, check. We did reduce the price 7 days in. She wanted to get it gone. So we had a significant number of showings. We got good feedback. Some people didn't like the floors. Again, we're in a more like old school area, so people want, you know, the original hardwoods. But this house had been heavily renovated. So like, for example, she wanted seamlessness throughout. So that sunroom was a tile. It was completely different. This kitchen was hardwoods. However, the footprint of the hardwoods were completely changed. So there was not really a way to salvage the hardwoods across. So she went with one floor, which is great. Some people didn't like it. Some people love it. So that was some of the feedback that we got. But one of the very first people that saw it, they were interested. They weren't sure they loved the floor. Once we dropped the price, they put in an offer that day we went under contract. So anyways, that is the story of this home and some of the strategy we used to get it sold per my seller's goals. As far as the inspection goes, the buyers had an inspection period and a resolution period where they were entitled to ask for repairs. They actually ended up doing money in lieu of repairs. We had to do a few things. The HVAC upstairs had been repaired, but there was a little bit of a leak on one of the coolant lines. I don't know the exact terms. And then I ended up replacing several of the remotes for the ceiling fans, which, you know, those remotes with ceiling fans or ceiling fans with remotes are always a pain. And then there were a couple other concerns about the roof and the garage with some, you know, potential water issues. So we negotiated some money off. The seller was happy to do that. She wasn't wanting to do any additional repairs. So we came to a conclusion that was great for all parties. These were cash buyers, so we had no financial contingencies. So overall, a very smooth and successful transaction for everybody involved, which was great. We always love that. So yeah, that's the story. So anyways, I hope this has been insightful for you. Of course, let me know your thoughts and questions. Click subscribe. I always have so much more to share with you. I'm Haley Jones, and I'll see you on the next video.